Welcome everybody to a special bonus episode of The Lookout. I am here, Meelz, and I am actually recording this for the second time. Initially recorded with LJ and AD, and then I kind of listened back to the episode, and it was kind of all over the place. And I just want to make sure that you guys all know, or at least it's succinctly. Maybe it's my perfectionism trait in me. Maybe that's my quirk. But I wanted to make sure it was completely clear and everything was completely smooth in me recapping my Anime NYC 2025 weekend. Now, if you know us here at The Lookout, we have been going to Anime NYC pretty much for the last 5 years, through COVID, through winter, through summer, through 3 days, 4 days, every single day. So we have gone quite a bit every year. And it's always a great time. And I think one of the best things I like about going to Anime NYC is you really get to, especially as a content creator, really touch base with what the people are feeling, what was popping in the anime industry, kind of meeting up with people, checking out all the cosplays, seeing things in real time, going and touch grass, to be honest with you. There's so much stuff that we kind of get trapped into with essentially binging, watching, debating, tweeting, sharing, liking, subscribing, all this other stuff like that, commenting, that we don't really actually get to go out there. So to actually go to a convention, I only go to one anime convention every year. It's always Anime NYC. If I had money to go to other ones, I probably would, but it's always Anime NYC. I love going every year, and I would always suggest everyone to go at least once. Chances are you'll go more than once. But I always say, if you're an anime fan, or even if you're not an anime fan, you want to see a convention at its peak, it is Anime NYC. Now, with that said, I kind of want to talk about the weekend, the overall review of the weekend. I'm looking on TikTok, I'm looking on social media, kind of see what's the conversation surrounding Anime NYC, and there's a number of things. But what I want to talk about, what I think is most important, is the cosplays. Now, in my opinion, this is Meelz' opinion right here, Meelz of the Lookout's opinion, the cosplays, to me, I felt like in terms of this year, it was calm. Normally there are some cosplays I see that blow my socks off, completely blow my socks off. And I went there Friday and Saturday. So I went there at least 2 days out of the 4. Maybe Thursday had some poppin' shit. Maybe Sunday had some shit I didn't actually see. But I've gone so many years. I feel like the cosplays this year, they were tame. But I'll say this, normally cosplaying is kind of like a good indicator of what is hot in the streets right now. If you do enough to grab face paint, buy outfits, buy wigs, 3D print something, if you put all of that effort into something, chances are you really, 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 really like it. And what I'll say is, from what I saw, the most cosplays this year belong to Don. Okaron, what's Shorty's name? I forgot her name, because I haven't caught up to the latest season of Don. So it's actually been pretty much half the year, over half of a year, I haven't actually seen Don. But they were kind of ruling the cosplay this year. Last year was One Piece. Last year I saw a lot of Laws, saw a lot of Gear 5s, saw a lot of stuff like that. This year, absolutely Don. I'll wait for the police sirens to pass by, because it wouldn't be a Lookout podcast without police sirens in the background. So Don, a lot. I also saw a lot of Sakamoto Days, and I know Sakamoto Days, they're it's a growing fan base. They're popping on Netflix. The second core of the season is out right now, so a lot of people are tuning in. Also, it's a very easy cosplay to do, low key, high key, low key. Because all you really have to do is get a blue jeans, yellow t-shirt, and a green apron with some white hair. And you might already have white hair already. And yeah, you kind of got it covered. So those are the major cosplays I saw. I saw a lot of different cosplays. Chainsaw Man is always someone that's always there. Dragon Ball is always something that's popping in. Every single character from One Piece is always represented. A lot of Nico Robins, a lot of a lot of Luffy's, a lot of Sanji's, a lot of things Law for sure. They're always going to be there. So I like going it. I like to see what people like. it obviously influences like what we talk about on the podcast in terms of like we spent pretty much half of the last calendar year talking about One Piece from last summer to early this fall because so many people were into One Piece. And I look forward to, I saw this really good solo leveling one. That was the Black Knight, and we're gonna put it up on our Instagram because it was really, really good. Shout out to the Black Knight from Solo Leveling. Not a lot of solo leveling, to be honest with you, but I mean, what is there to cosplay? To be real with you, like how much can you aura farm as a regular person? So didn't really see much solo leveling, even though it won Anime of the Year. But I did see a couple free runs. I did see that. So we got that to tune into. All right, so what was on the floor? Before I get to my own personal experience of what I did actually there, what was on the floor? So Crunchyroll, obviously, there's so much action behind me. I promise you it's not me. Crunchyroll had their massive booth, and a lot of their focus was the new anime Gachiakuta. And if you have not seen it, if you have not been on our socials, go check on our YouTube page because we have a video. Actually, it might have been taken down by now, but on our socials for sure, there is a video of Zeno Robinson, who we've interviewed a million times, who was also at Anime NYC, kind of really gushing about this series. It's a great series. It just premiered this summer. There are about 6-7 episodes that have at least premiered at this point, so definitely check it out. It was a big thing. They had a big activation about it with people diving in the trash to be able to find something, and I think they won a prize. So that was incredibly dope. They also focus heavily on One Punch Man. One Punch Man is coming back for its 3rd season. This is its 1st season in umpteen years. It has not been out since before the pandemic. They transitioned from, I forget what studio they were using before, but they're not even using the same studios before. They are using MAPPA, so we will see what we get with MAPPA. There are 2 versions of MAPPA. There's a really good MAPPA and a really bad MAPPA. I'm assuming we're going to get the really good MAPPA, and hopefully all the great artists get to sleep at night. So One Punch Man was a heavy focus because they're like, yo, it's coming back. We want people to really be tapped into it. Kagurabachi was another one. They had the mangaka from Kagurabachi featured there actually do a panel, which is amazing. So it's like mangaka don't really even show their face or really like talk about their work in the States at all. So for Anime NYC to really be able to secure mangaka of like Hell's Paradise, Kagurabachi, lots of people that just want to see, and people, honestly, the fans just really want to show their love for the series because they're so in love with it. Kagurabachi, the mangaka, definitely answered a lot of questions. He says he's very heavily influenced by Naruto, made it, things are very much clear for me in terms of that. Talk about making the names of these characters before actually drawing them. And he's just very influenced by like Western stuff. So it's pretty dope. Like, I would say those are one of the highlights of Anime NYC that you may not get at any other convention because they really do this. They also had Aniplex was celebrating its 20th anniversary. Aniplex, like, starring behind Kill la Kill, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Gurren Lagann the movie, so much stuff like that. They had a Kaiju number 8 activation for the mobile game that is coming out. I'm surprised it has a mobile game coming out because we are only pretty much 1 season in. The manga just ended. Tread as you must with that mobile game. If you like Kaiju number 8, it'll be for you. If you don't, I'm not going to say steer clear of it, but I'm just going to say, just use your own judgment if you want to play it or not. Rooster Fighter. I don't know what Rooster Fighter is, but there is a lot of Rooster Fighter content there. So Rooster Fighter might become a thing. I'm not going to say it's going to become a thing. Personally, I am not of the only animal show that I truly watch is Odd Taxi, and spoilers at the end. Actually, I won't spoil it. But they have that. So there's so much stuff that actually go on. over there. They had great panels for Hello Kitty, a 50-year anniversary. They had Bang Bang Zoom with Lex Lang and Sandy Fox. They had a 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh, which I definitely wanted to go to, and I couldn't sign up. And that will be another issue that I kind of talk about once I get to the issues of Anime NYC, which I'll definitely talk about. But Don panel, One Punch Man panel, Spy Family panel, 30 years of Evangelion. Let's see what else they got here. I mean, anime comedy show. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Kyle, who continues to put on these amazing anime comedy shows. They're always sold out. They always do great business. Aniplex 20th anniversary. What else do they got here? I mean, kind of really just the basic Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, we had Sonic the Hedgehog. I didn't see that. That was on Sunday though. I was not there. And so much more. So they always have like a billion panels you can go to, even if you don't get into the top ones that you want to, even if you don't get to sing creepy nuts with the damn Don cast, you're still able to get in and get some good information on anime. So I always suggest people head to the panels because there's always something for somebody. And if you don't go to the panels, if you're dressed in cosplay, go to the meetups. Find some dope people who also do cosplays for a very popular series like you. Get some pose in, oral farm to the max. Like, get it in where you can fit in. That's what I could say. Let's talk about what I did at Anime NYC. So this is the first year I actually went alone. Usually the first year I went with Jeff and Jamal. Second year I went with, I believe, just Jamal. And then third year Jamal didn't come, and I went with Jay. Shout out to Jay. And then the fourth year, Jamal came. So shout out to that. But Jamal was there, and I was also there with Rob Ugly New York. This year, I was kind of there solo. I met up with my friend Mitchell. Shout out to Mitchell. He's the best. I also met up with Rob again and his brother Devin, who is like my official cameraman for the Friday as I got some work done. So shout out to Devin. He's dope as hell. We can always talk about anime. Got to get him on the show at some point. So I can talk about my beef with Kogorobachi, which I won't get to on here, but there is beef. But as far as I did, so I hosted a number of panels this weekend. And you're saying, wow, hosting panels. Yeah, I did one last year. We probably talked about it. Steve Bloom talked about it. It was a great experience. It was great kind of seeing a voice actor really get embraced by the anime community and seeing it in real time and being able to ask questions and have fans ask questions. So I reached out to Anime NYC because I wanted to do it again. Now, the person whose radar I was on last year when I was suggested to do it, I was suggested again by Victoria. Victoria always makes it happen. Like, she is the godmother of everything that happens with me and the lookout for anime. Is not there this year. So I reached out on my own. I was like, hey, I hosted a thing last year. I would love to do it again just because, like, I loved it so much last year. So I reached out. Initially, they were like, do you have a reel? And I was like, no. And they were like, we'll get back to you. And I said, fine. Whether I did it or not, it was irrelevant at that point. I'd also signed up around that time for press, which I didn't hear from, but we'll get more into that. So eventually they reached back and like, hey, we actually do have 2 panels that we'd love for someone to host. And it was for the Voices of Sanrio. And it was for We Are the Strongest Jujutsu Kaisen Voice Actors panels. Now, if you know me, not a huge Sanrio guy. Definitely not. But I respect the voice actors and everything that they do, especially over the years. And when I looked at the cast of it and saw it was Jenny Yokobori and Sandy Fox, I was like, oh, these are 2 great voice actors. Jenny is amazing. Sandy Fox is a legend. She's done everything from King of the Hill, Simpsons, Betty Boop, all the other stuff like that. Jenny has done Genshin Impact. She has done, just off the top of my head, also The Simpsons. She has done Hello Kitty, all these other things. She's done amazing stuff. So definitely love to do that panel. And then I actually did do the panel. We got a situation where Jenny was running late because of another previous engagement that she was part of that was also running late. So I got into the situation where I had all these questions. Half of my questions was for Jenny, half of my questions were for Sandy, and none of them, and only one person was there. So we went out onto the stage, just me and Sandy. And I was just worried that fans who came to see Jenny would be like, "Yo, is she even coming? Like, what's going on?" or whatever it is. So I was worried about that mostly. But I'll say this: doing podcasting for the last decade prepared me so much for this. I came up with questions off the top of my head. I had follow-up questions that I didn't even think of. A lot of stuff wasn't even written down, and I kind of like handled the business. I was very proud of myself. Eventually, Jenny showed up. She showed up. She got, on the couch, and we all talked, and we got fans to kind of ask their questions as well. And it was just a great overall experience. So shout out to Sandy Fox, shout out to Jenna Yokobori. I will always support you in whatever voice acting thing that you do, because you are incredibly nice people and you're incredibly dope. So always support them. The next panel that they had for me was "We Are the Strongest Jujutsu Kaisen." And I don't have to tell you, from doing this podcast for a number of years, we are fans of Jujutsu Kaisen. It just is what it is. I was always going to do this panel. And I did not need a lot of prep for it. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I had maybe 4 questions kind of written down, because wait for Rough Riders to pass by, because as the questions start flowing for the other panel, I started questions for this panel as well. And then I was just like, I know what JJK is about. I know what the people want to hear. I don't need to do any questions, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, I know a majority of these fans will want to ask questions to these voice actors. And I feel like I always want to give fans the opportunity to speak to the people that they love first. So I got there. They got there. Kaiji Tang, Lex Lang, super fucking cool, by the way. Just amazing, hilarious guys. Great camaraderie. You can tell with the JJK cast that they truly love one another, and they love this show. That is something that comes through clearly, clear as day, and the people love this show. So they came backstage. I introduced myself to them. It was completely dope. I looked through the curtain and saw that the entire room was packed. And you know what? They just announced a number of days ago that JJK has a Guinness World Record for being the most in-demand anime for the 2nd year in a row. That means that even though season 3 has not come out, it is the most in-demand anime out there. People are frothing at the mouth for season 3. Now, they could not answer questions on season 3. 1, because they haven't had any information. And 2, if they had information, they wouldn't tell me. But we made it fun anyway. So we walked out on stage, and I tell you, they could feel the love. I fully believe that they could feel the love of like the people who are really thanking them for coming to Anime NYC, making their trip. Because you get to speak to the voice of Gojo and Geto in the series. Like, this is amazing. It's low-key like a podcast idea. I kept saying in my head, I'm like, yo, this is a podcast. I know you don't really want to do it as characters, but like the relationship that they have makes it amazing. And the panel was so amazing, bro. The panel had great questions I had great questions. I'll kick it off, because we talked for 20 minutes before I actually fielded questions, and we had a great time kind of talking about the series and what it meant to them, and continuing the series and what it means to be the most in-demand stuff, and like getting acquainted to the series, and Lex Lang dropping the mysterious Geto from season 1 and season 2, which I'm gonna go look back at now, because he says there is definitely a difference between how Satoru Geto is played in season 1 versus how he is in season 2, because they had no idea what the character was. So that's a little tidbit. You should definitely go and check it out. I think so from there on, I fielded questions, and everyone had great. We had the best group. Like, we had amazing questions from people who wanted interested about like mental health and like the characters and like what they mean and the performances and all this other stuff like that. Who their other characters and who they'd want in JJK, or who they want in JJK, or being the best villain. Like, we had the best thing. Low-key, they're not going to show you this and I know this because I've already seen their day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 recaps. They have not shown anything from this panel. I promise you. Look at in the big room, and maybe I'll make it to the big room one day. But I have not heard of a better panel than this one this weekend. I promise you that. I promise you. It was so good. I should put up a video on my Instagram of the people cheering their asses off because they loved this shit. So great panel, great work to be done. That's what I did on Friday. I was on a super high. I also had a super headache afterwards because light was shining in my face for essentially 2 hours. I don't know if you guys noticed, my eyes, I'm pretty sure, are hypersensitive to light. So if light shines for I should wear glasses, I promise you, but I don't want to look like a dickhead wearing sunglasses inside. But I promise you, I'm going to try to figure it out. But I went home with my throbbing headache, happy as hell. Saturday, we came back. Saturday, I tried to do a lot of stuff for the Lookout, but I did not have time to do stuff for the Lookout. Also, there was not a lot of great cosplay, to be honest with you, for me to take pictures of. I did the best I could with what I got, and trust me, I did laps. If you look, I did 20,000 steps that day. That's at least 4 trips around the entire hall to figure out. I was looking for cosplayers and looking for everything and looking for stuff to buy and looking for all this other stuff like that. Here's my recommendation for Anime NYC. If you go a day and you don't want to be... If you want the experience of how many people, millions and millions of people, go Saturday. I'll wait for Rough Riders. Again, if you want that experience to see all the people in their glory, go Saturday. If you want a calmer experience, not that much calmer, but a overall calmer experience, go on Friday. Friday is the best day. And if you even want a calmer experience, and you want the first to get artwork, you want to be the first to get the photos, you want to be the first to get the t-shirts, you want to get everything before it actually sells out, go on Thursday. That is my full recommendation, because Saturday is nuts. You cannot move, you cannot breathe, and I'll say this also. There's this thing on TikTok, so I'm looking through the TikToks, and a lot of thing was with the smell of the people at Anime NYC. I'll say this, my experience. I didn't experience musty. Maybe I wasn't up there long. I'm sure it does exist. It is the summer. These people are in costumes. These people are moving in bunches. I'm sure there is mustiness in the air. Of course, it is an anime convention. Why would they not be? I personally didn't experience it. The number of people I walked by, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how they smell. I was like, damn, he put on cologne. He made sure, and I guess he was black, but he put on cologne and he made sure he ain't smell as he was going through this. So shout out to him. Let's see. So Saturday comes, I'm here to do press. I have a secret project I'm doing with Crunchyroll. Cannot talk about it, but you will definitely see it soon. I would guess you would see it soon. If you don't see it soon, you will see it eventually, but it will happen. I did something incredibly dope. Very proud of myself. Had a great time doing it. The press situation with Anime NYC. At the beginning, the first number of years, it was this experience where I think a lot of podcasters, a lot of video content creators, a lot of things could come. They could interview voice actors. We had a great set of voice actors every time that you could come and interview for. Again, Rough Riders. I don't know maybe he's circling the block. What the hell is he doing? Lots of great voice actors were there. It's the first time I interviewed Cena Robinson, first time I interviewed Enaris, first time I interviewed a number of people there. That is not the case anymore. This shout out to the new press group that is there. The new press group favors a lot more editorial coverage than anything. And I get it, because they have a lot of people there. They'll have like Rolling Stone, and they'll have Anime News Network, and they'll have Variety, and they'll have Hot 97, and they'll have all these other things, all these different people there, right, to cover this one thing. We do not do editorial. Can I do editorial? Of course I fucking can. What? I'm a writer by trade. But we do not do editorial. We do strictly podcasting. We do strictly video. We strictly do all of that other stuff like that. So it is very hard for me. Also, another problem. So I signed up for press early as hell, as early as I could. June, May, one of those things. Signed up, fill out my press form. Didn't actually expect to hear back, because once again, they prioritize editorial. They say it in the application that they prioritize. Can you do other media? Yeah, but they prioritize editorial. I had to register for Crunchyroll as a contractor for them, and I had to register for the Lookout. When I registered for Crunchyroll, I heard back literally later that day. And it was like, oh, you're approved. And I was like, oh, okay. Shout out to that. I hadn't heard anything for the Lookout, but I'm just like, okay, I guess I won't be going on behalf of the Lookout. Props to the press group who probably like 2 weeks ago reached out to me and said like, hey, we know, the Lookout, you guys always do amazing work. You've been here for years upon years upon years. You always kind of like submit your coverage early. You do all this other stuff. And it's important as press to submit your coverage early. Very important. If you're going, if they're letting you go for free, just edit your best you can in the next like 36 to 48 hours and see what you can get them. That's just my opinion. So we always do for free. So they gave us essentially a pass. So I had 2 press passes. But again, by approving me so late, I'm unable to reserve any of the things that I could have got additional information about. So I couldn't get interviewed about Don to Don. I couldn't interview any of the mangaka. I couldn't interview a single soul. And I promise you, this is not the first year that it happened, and this is not the second year that it happened. All 3 years, I have been unable to get in a room to talk to anybody about anything. I promise you, because it's always some sort of issue. It is not my favorite thing, but it is their thing. So it just is what it is at this point. But I will say they do a great job. Again, like 300 outlets are pretty much registered for Anime NYC to all do work and all get great press. So they do the best that they can with what they got. It's a pretty small staff, to be honest with you. So shout out to them for actually doing it. Again, it is not my cup of tea. I would prefer to speak to the people, be able to record it, be able to present it to my audience, have it go down the internet, maybe go viral on TikTok, maybe go viral on YouTube, maybe one of those things, and express to people how important it is to talk to these, connect our audience to the people that they love and the people that they hear every day. So that is usually where I kind of want to go with this. So we were unable to do that. So I just went around, took photos, took videos, took everything like that. They'll be going up on Instagram. And this podcast will be going out reviewing our time there. Now, what I will say about the news at Anime NYC, which I essentially have to get from other news sources because, again, I am unable to interview anyone there because it was too late. I was not too late. Let me just make that abundantly clear. I was not late. I was just not prioritized at all. So they dropped news for the second season for the Devil May Cry anime series, which if you did not watch the first season, I recommend it. It is highly good. Check it out. Sakamoto Days anime English trailer for the JCC exams arc. I have not watched this second core of Sakamoto Days yet, but trust me, I will be in the next coming week. Also, the JCC exams are one of the fun, most creative arcs ever, so definitely tap into it. The second American Manga Awards, what won this year, best new manga was The Guy She Was Interested In Wasn't a Guy at All, Volume 1, so shout out to that. Best continuing manga series, Apocryphy Diaries, Volume 12 and 13, very amazing. Best one-shot manga, Tamaki and Amane. Best new edition of a classic manga series, Ashita no Joe, Fighting for Tomorrow. And, you know, so many different people were pretty much celebrated there. The Studio Proteus received the Manga Publishing Hall of Fame Award. Recipients included founder Torrin Smith, translator Donna Lewis, Alan Gleason, Frederick Schott, manga artist Tomoko Saito, and comic creator Andrew Warren, and comic letters Tom Orchowski and L. Lois Bualis. So shout out to everyone there. Again, this is a new thing that they put on the Manga Awards. It is not like the Shonen Jump Awards, even though Shonen Jump, Viz Media would be great to have an award show. Listen, if we at least letting fans vote on something, let them vote for their favorite manga. Let them vote for their best new manga. Let's do it. Lots of other news. Rooster Fighter cast other stuff like that. Down to Dawn season 2. Bryce Papenbrook, if you don't know him, he is the voice of, I believe it's, don't tell me, Eren in Attack on Titan, and a billion other things. Actually, let me look what else he voices. Actually, his shit is real long, so he just voices a lot of stuff. So tune in for that. And a lot of other stuff was announced that you can pretty much end up on YouTube, like Tom Clancy's oh my god, the anime for the Tom Clancy joint that was also premiered during the Netflix panel. So a lot of stuff was there. Anime NYC. If you love the industry itself, if you're interested in all the things that are coming, definitely you can tune in. And Anime News Network has a lot of great coverage for it, so shout out to that. Crunchyroll is going to have a lot of great coverage for it, a lot of exciting new coverage, because they pretty much had a room set up to do video content and other content, so shout out to them. They kind of got everything under control. With that said, all right, so here's my pluses for the con were, again, you go, it's a lot of fun, see a lot of cosplay, a lot of Artist Alley was booming, a lot of products you can cop, a lot of things you can do that. Again, Anime NYC, and amazing panels. They're always going to have that. Check out the panels. If you're not here for the panels, go support artists. If you're not there for the artists, go support vendors. If you're not there for the vendors, put on some cosplay, go dance, do all the other stuff. The cons, I would say the cons, I mean, Saturday has too many damn people. I'm gonna just keep it a hundo bundo with you. Saturday has way too many people, just in general. It's just a lot. I feel like there could have been better, more interactive activations. When I say interactive activations, I mean, I went to Fanatics Fest, and I know it's a sports thing, like a lot more sports, so there's a lot more activities related to sports. But One Punch Man had this like punch out thing. I thought that was great. Haikyuu had this thing where you could jump and like see how high you can jump. That's great. More stuff like that, please. Like, don't just have us walk in and look at pictures and look at video and like, oh my god, yeah, and buy t-shirts and stuff like that. Like, make it a full interactive experience. So when you take your family, when you take kids, when you take all this stuff, there's actually fun things for them to do instead of walking on your feet for 2 hours and coming home with blisters. The second thing, I will always be for the proponent of new media. Press, we have to include more things for new media. As content creators, there was a content creator room there. There was official. It was not promoted well. I saw it on my IG feed because I think Victoria shared it, but it was not promoted well. So I think that should be promoted. I think more content creators would be loved to go there if they knew there was a special room where they could do all their stuff and edit all their videos. I'm not sure if it was promoted well. I didn't actually go inside of it. I pretty much didn't know where it was. And then I forgot to find the video to show me where it was. So not promoted well, but new media, we have to get in there. We should be able to speak to voice actors if they want to speak to voice actors. We should be able to speak to producers and kind of like film it on video. I understand mangaka, I understand creators, I understand certain studios would not want to be on camera talking about these certain things. That is fine. We can work with ways around it. They're front-facing people who can answer these questions. They just are. Like, it is what it is. So it would be great to do that. I would love, again, to be able to present similar to what we do at other conventions, MomoCon, DreamCon, all the other cons. We able to sit down, get a good 10 to 20 minute interview with whoever the folks. I'll even take 5 minutes. If I get 5 minutes alone, I'm gonna ask some questions. So it is what it is. But that would just improve things immensely and improve the reach of things. And I just want to be able to do that stuff. What else would I improve? More culturally relevant guests, and not just to anime and like Japanese culture, but more like the culture of anime has become so intertwined with Western culture now that you're starting to experience rappers and celebrities, and so many people enjoy it. A good sit down with Channing Tatum, a good sit down with Megan Thee Stallion. Um, a wrestlers love anime. If I could set up a panel with wrestlers who can talk about anime, I would love to do it. Um, there's so much stuff that just culturally wise you can do with anime. I'm so surprised they don't do it. I get the mangaka, I get the fandom, I get the kawaii, I get all this other stuff like that, but there's so much like cultural things that people outside of the bubble would be able to enjoy. And I will also say, standing up for press, the mere fact, I'll wait for the sirens, of course, of my city before I say this because it's very important. The mere fact that press is not prioritized for the panels. I'm not saying you need to hold 100 seats for press, 50 seats for press. You know what I'm saying? Something so we can go, sign up, watch the things we are covering, and maybe even go back to be able to ask people questions about it. That's all I'm saying. The mere fact that I've seen Crunchyroll staff workers, mind you, Crunchyroll's are sponsors for the event, but even they have to go stand in line to make sure that they get into stuff and do all the other stuff like that. I think that is crazy. If you want them to, this is just New York City behind me. If you want the best coverage for the event, you have to give us something. I don't want to have to stand in the line with 200 people. No offense to the 200 people. Shout out to y'all. Just booming in the background, huh? There's always something on the lookout. I hope everyone's okay. No offense to 200 people who stand there. Press should not have to stand with those people. We should have seats so we can properly cover the event. We are not going to the event to really enjoy it. I enjoy it. I'm an anime fan. We're going there to do our jobs. We're being paid for this. You know what I'm saying? There's money that's being spent for people to go here and cover these things. Let us do our job properly, please. So I will always recommend. They always say, "Oh, fans first," you know, and I don't mean to do all this other stuff, but it's a shit. Is it outside my house? Damn. But let me wrap this up because this is a lot. There's a lot of commotion going down in my city. If you ever lived in New York City, this is it. But please give us a chance to properly cover this event. I'm not saying much. I love that you love the fans first. I also love fans, but we have to be able to cover the thing properly. The big panels, you have 1,000 seats in this damn room. This main stage room. It is big as fuck. Give up 25 to 50 seats. You will be fine. The other people can stand, or we'll stand. Who cares? I just want to be able to cover it properly. That's all I'm saying. That's it for now. I'm pretty much afraid another siren is going to pass by, so I'm just going to hop off here. But Anime NYC was great this year. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. You will go on TikTok, and if you see Anime NYC, you'll see a lot of cosplayers. You'll also probably see people voicing their concerns with it, as there is with every con. Every con, someone will have a problem with something. I know Anime NYC, they definitely reach out to hear people's suggestions for things, and they go fix it. So definitely say what you need to say, get your voice out, get your message out. Always recommend go. If you're in NYC, go. If you're not in NYC and you want to come, New York in the middle of summer is pretty awesome. So come, have a good time, enjoy yourself. This is the bonus episode. It went much longer than I thought it was. And another siren is coming, so I'm just going to get off now. Thank you guys for tuning in to The Lookout. Don't meet us there, beat us there. We will be back soon. Peace.